So the first big thing about the NBA is the Kevin Durant saga, drama, whatever you want to call it, has finally come to an end.
Well,
for the time being. Steve Nash, Sean Marks, the Nets owner, and Katie's agent all met in Los Angeles. I don't know why they were in L.A. when they live in New York, but they met in L.A. for some reason.
Everything happens in L.A.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay. So they met in L.A., and they decided to move forward with their professional relationship, as they put it. He took away his trade request, and the thing is, it was Kevin Durant's only option because the Nets kind of made it very clear the best offer close offer they were going to get was going to be a package from the Boston Celtics that involved Jaylen Brown. And I think Jaylen Brown's a great player. He's one of the better players in the NBA right now, defensively, offensively. But he's not a Kevin Durant.
No, he's not.
And there
aren't many people that are.
Yeah,
but
there was no way that trade was going to work. So I think Kevin Durant knew that he was. And Kevin Durant just kind of felt stuck, and his only options were to come back and play and to be a grown-up about it and play in the situation that he caused, or he could have sat out a year or something like that, which I don't think he would have done.
At this point in his career, he doesn't have enough years left to just sit out.
And the thing is, if he wants to prove that he's got a legacy, he's got to win a championship with the Nets, with his team. He can't just ride these 2 chips he won on the back of Steph and Clay and Draymond and say he is one of the all-time greats. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. But
I'd still put him in an all-time great. I mean,
but if you want to show you are a leader and you were one of those guys, you want to be in the talks with the LeBrons and the Stephs of the day. Like, you got to win a championship on your own. And
I'd still probably put him in that conversation.
I couldn't, man. It would be.
I mean, just look at the talent. The talent is.
I mean, yeah, he's he's arguably the best offensive player the NBA has ever seen. He's just such a crazy offensive talent. It's just that in terms of leadership, that's something that goes into being one of the all-time greats. LeBron James has that factor. Michael Jordan has that factor. Steph Curry has that factor. Kobe Bryant had that factor, and I haven't seen that factor from Kevin Durant. He can prove that he has it if he can go win a championship with the Nets, but so far we haven't seen that. And the thing that this does for the Nets is, one, it puts Steve Nash in the hot seat.
Well, yeah.
He's not a great coach. He's not a great head coach.
I think he's been in the hot seat, but it really puts him in the hot seat.
It really does now because Kevin Durant, even though you were the one that got him hired, you're the one who called for his job.
Right.
And the Nets put their faith in you over Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Meaning, let's say, if you don't win a championship, Steve Nash will be the one held responsible this year, not Kevin Durant. Fans will be mad at Kevin Durant, but the person who's going to lose their job is going to be Steve Nash. So Steve Nash is put in a very difficult position this year where he literally is going to have to win. But the sad thing is, you look at Brooklyn Nets, other than Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, you don't have that many weapons. You lost Bruce Brown, who was probably your third best player on the team this year. You have to hope that Kyrie and KD will play together this year.
Right.
Because they've barely done that.
I was just about to hit on that. I think a lot of the judgment that's been put on Steve Nash is slightly unfair just because I want to say since they've signed Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and at the time James Harden, played like 27 games. They were all on the court.
For all 3 of them, it was only 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Durant and Kyrie, I think them 2 were 27.
Yeah.
But,
so, I mean, yes, you're brought in to do a job as a coach. Yes, you haven't done that job, and the wins have not been there. The success has not been there, obviously. But at the same time, the pieces you were given have their own issues.
Yeah, they've all fallen apart. And the roster you have built around them is not great.
Right.
I mean,
those 3 were supposed to carry that team, and I think they could have, but they were never on the floor.
The biggest mistake the Nets made in this whole process was trading for James Harden, because now you don't have any future for the foreseeable future. After Kyrie and KD are gone, you have nothing for a long time because you traded so many draft picks. You traded your entire bench. You had, don't get me wrong, Joe Harris and Bruce Brown were great players, but you want to win an NBA championship with those guys in your starting lineup with with Kevin Durant getting the ball the entire time, all I got to do is double team KD and not let Joe Harris get too far away to knock down a three. Listen, I'll be real. I don't think the Nets are winning a championship. I don't think they have the roster surrounding KD and Kyrie. They don't have the best. If Ben Simmons can come back, I think that helps them.
Ben Simmons is back, that helps a lot, especially defensively.
I think Ben
Simmons...
And
it takes pressure off of Kyrie because Ben Simmons can be the primary ball handler.
He doesn't need to be. I think it fits. This fits Ben Simmons' role better because he doesn't have to be that primary.
He doesn't have
ball
to be a scorer.
He does
not have to score the basketball because he has KD.
But the question
and Kyrie.
is, when is Ben Simmons going to play? We don't know. It's crazy. It's weird, but
I think we'll see Ben Simmons pretty early in the season.
I hope we do, but because I like the Nets. Steve Nash is one of my favorite players of all time. I like Kyrie Irving. He believes the Earth is flat, just like me. I love Joe Harris. I like the Nets, I'd love to see them win because after all of this, I'd love to see that a team can actually push past this and win some games. But I'm looking at the rest of the East. The Celtics are going to be back.
Yeah.
The Bucks are going to be back.
Heat.
The Heat, even Philly, is never going to be an easy team to beat with James Harden and Joel Embiid. I don't see the Nets. I see the Nets as a second-round team best.
I see the Nets in a lot of the same space as I see the Lakers in the West.
Sure.
Because while I see there's talent, there are players there that have had talent in the past, and it's just how they work together, and then the pieces around that talent. I just don't, like you said, second, third round, maybe they make the Eastern Conference Finals. Same with the Lakers on the other side. Western Conference Finals, maybe, but Lakers, I don't see them beating the Grizzlies, the Warriors. Those are the two big ones that I just don't see the Lakers beating, and the same thing goes for the Nets. The East.
I agree.
The Celtics, I don't see them beating the Celtics. Really don't see them beating the 76ers because they have a lot more pieces around James Harden and Joel Embiid than the Nets have around their stars. The Heat, Jimmy Butler's always going to play defense and score. Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry. There are teams on both sides that I like better than.
And I'll be real with you. Yes, Kevin Durant's coming back, but you can't tell me in the back of Kyrie's mind he's not thinking this dude, after I committed to this dude tried to leave. You can't think in the back of Steve Nash's mind this dude called for my job. That stuff has got to be lingering, even if they are agreeing to go forward. That doesn't just go away when you try to get somebody fired.
That was the exact point I was going to get to was, just because KD's back, will you have Kyrie, Ben Simmons, KD on the floor all season? Not all season. You probably won't. Most of the season, maybe. Who knows?
You never know.
Yeah, it's just they will definitely be a middle of the pack playoff team. I don't think they're going to be a top.
I could see them going to the second round, and I could see them taking the second round to a Game 7. I don't think they're going to be able to beat a Boston Celtics or a Milwaukee Bucks, whoever, to get to the conference finals. Because mainly, you look at their starting lineup, you're going to have Kyrie, Joe Harris, Ben Simmons possibly, KD possibly. I don't know
who's going to play center.
That's my point. I don't know.
I haven't looked at their roster lately.
I haven't either. Bruce Brown, I could see being in that starting role because KD could guard down low good enough. Ben Simmons could guard down low good enough unless it's a power-dominant big. But the Nets need to find a big man because I don't think they have one.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to more off-season trade drama news. Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz are not in a great place right now. The Utah Jazz have basically said they don't think Donovan Mitchell can lead them to a championship, which, whether that's true or not, that's your star player. And I've never seen an organization come out and say, I've seen people say we're moving another direction. I've seen people say it's just that time, it's not working out. I've never seen an organization say this player cannot get the job done.
There's so many conflicting reports going on with this whole situation that it's like, I don't know what to believe because, you get online and start trying to research and read up. I know I was just trying to do that this morning, trying to look. One place you'll see the Knicks are close to acquiring Donovan Mitchell, and then the very next article is Donovan Mitchell has not formally requested a trade from the Jazz.
It's all over the place. But
the report was from the same guy.
It's,
so, I mean, and it was like 20 minutes apart. He said the same exact, the two completely opposite
I'm
things.
pretty sure.
So.
I think Donovan Mitchell, I think he's frustrated with the front office. I don't think he wants out of Utah. I think he likes that being his team. And
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert leaving changes things. I mean, he's had a close to championship lineup with him. If the Utah Jazz were in the West, or not the West, they are in the West. If they were in the East, I think they could have possibly made the finals because Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, a guy like Mike Conley, who's a great facilitator,
Right.
Joe Ingles. I mean, Joe, not that he's a star player, but he's a great, once again.
3-and-D guy.
Yeah, and then you got even Jay Crowder at one point when you
Yeah.
had him, a great player. You had, if you were in the East, I would say a championship contender. Not in the West, but, whether or not Donovan Mitchell can lead a team to a championship or not, that's debatable. You can't debate that he's one of the best young talents in the NBA. However, Donovan Mitchell does not need to go to the Knicks. The Knicks are not a good franchise. They never really have been. Even back in their Patrick Ewing days, they could never make it. They can never win the championship. They hadn't won it since Claude Frazier.
I don't know when the last time.
It's like the 70s, I think. And there's a reason for that. It's because they're not a good franchise. And everyone's talking about if the Knicks could do this, the Knicks are going to be here. Like it's New York. People want to come to the big market. Well, they went to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell wants to be put in a situation because New York City has the toughest fans in the world in almost every sport.
Right.
Do you want to go be put into a situation where you're not with a good team, where you're being held responsible for it? Look at what happened to Kemba Walker this year when he went there.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation. So I would say if they are close to a deal, I don't think it's in Donovan Mitchell's best interest to go to the Knicks.
But that was just kind of my point on. I was trying to do some research earlier, and there were just so many conflicting reports that I kind of gave up because it's like there's no way to tell what if this is actually true and what if this is just people trying to get clicks. So that'll be an interesting situation to watch, as we get closer to the season. So.
And one more story in the NBA. This one kind of sucks. Chet Holmgren. I'm sorry. I can never say his name. He's going to be out for the season. Going to miss his – well, I guess it wouldn't technically count as his rookie season if they did what they did with Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
But it still sucks, and it's a setback for the Thunder. Not because – the Thunder have one of the brightest futures in the NBA. They have everything lined up to build a great program. They have young talent right now.
They've got draft picks.
Draft
picks on top of draft picks.
Exactly. And when you draft someone second overall, that's because you expect him to make an impact right away. And I think he needed to get some more build on him before he was going to be able to compete in the paint with some guys in the league. But he was going to get some buckets.
Yeah.
Put him with Shai, put him with the rest of the OKC Thunder. I mean, they were going to have a good roster this year. Whether or not they weren't going to compete for a championship. They could have competed for a playoff spot or a play-in tournament spot. But once again, it's just a slight setback in their rebuild because you wanted this guy to get that experience this year, and now you're going to have to put it off a year. And it's not a waste of a draft pick. I think Chet's a great talent. It's just I think they should have drafted Jabari Smith.
No, I think
but I think he fit the roster better. But it is what it. But once again, Chet's still a great pick. I'm not saying that's not true.
Yeah, and on top of that, maybe this does help the Thunder a little bit because I saw something. Yes, they would have been more talented this year than they were last year. But like you said, I don't see them getting past maybe the play-in tournament. Whereas this year, now that you lose one of your pieces that you were thinking was going to do something, maybe we see the Thunder picking in the top 5 again next year.
That's true.
I mean you lose a year of experience with Chet Holmgren, yes. But, maybe you get another really high draft pick and add another piece to it. So
perhaps you lose just enough time to get Bronny in the draft, and you can get LeBron James for a year.
I mean,
think about it. LeBron James, Chet, whatever his last name is, Holmgren, Shai, Gilgeous-Alexander.
Do we need to have sounding out lessons?
Yeah, go for it.
Grin. Put it together.
Pull 'em. What? Sorry. Anyways,
Okay.
I'm sorry. But yeah, to me it sucks. I was looking forward to seeing him play in the NBA. I loved watching him in college. And I think he's going to be a good talent and a great.
As long as this doesn't affect him long term, the Thunder will be fine. They clearly weren't in a win now mode anyway.
You're right.
So, he's only 19. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he's our age.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you're. A lot of guys are still in college at that age that he will start playing anyway. So
you are accurate.
Another thing that happened yesterday, I don't know if you saw, the Lakers traded for Pat Beverly with the Jazz. That's going to be a circus show to watch in L.A. But
I don't get the trade. I get, Pat Bev has said so many times, if he could play with anybody, it'd be Bron. I see them butting heads more than I see them getting along.
And
just
Pat Beverly and Westbrook already do not have a anywhere near decent relationship.
Yeah,
so that's going to be interesting.
The Lake show is going downhill.
Yeah. He does fill the big defensive need that the Lakers need, but the way he is going to mesh with that locker room, it's not going to be a circus, and I'm ready to watch it blow up. So.
JJ hates the Lakers. Okay, just real quick before we move on to college football. Early pick NBA champions 2024. 2023. I don't know why I said 2024. 2023. Who you got?
Still, somebody's just going to have to show me that they can beat the Warriors.
I'm with you.
I mean,
injuries could always happen.
Yeah,
but I don't see anybody beating the Warriors.
Once again, I think Memphis will take another big step forward this year. I love their young core. Ja Morant, one of the best players in the NBA at this point. Jaren Jackson is a top 25 player, I'd say.
Close.
Top 30. He's around
maybe.
there.
Yeah, he's a great talent.
He's a great star. Yeah. I wouldn't put him in the superstar category, but I'd put him in a star category.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think, I just don't – somebody's going to have to show me that they can beat the Warriors at this point.
That's fair.
The Celtics will be good again. We've named the Bucks. Well,
I think the Celtics have the best chance to knock the Warriors off.
Somebody's got to show me that they can beat Golden State.
I don't see
I
don't see anybody beating Golden State either. That was my pick. I think it very well could be the Celtics and the Warriors again in the finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, you ready to move on to some college football?
Yeah. So early in the day, the first big game of the day, it's actually being played in Ireland.
Yep.
I didn't realize that until today when I saw Northwestern's helmets that they revealed.
I haven't seen them yet.
It's got an Irish flag on the back, I know, and it's got something in the logo. I think it's colors of the flag or something.
I remember. I didn't know about it. A story broke yesterday that Nebraska's flight had been crazy delayed, and they didn't get in until just last night.
Yeah.
So they were kind of behind schedule.
I feel kind of bad for all these people in Dublin because
you're getting a bad college football game.
Yeah, because you're
getting the two
they're
worst
trying to
teams
grow college football internationally, and I like that.
It can
but
be.
Then Big Ten, you're going to give them Nebraska and Northwestern.
Yeah.
I
get it's a week 0 game. It literally is a week 0 game. But
there have been good week 0 games in the past.
Not many.
Not many, but there have been one or two.
But
and
the thing is, this is
at least they're giving them a conference game. At least it's not Nebraska versus Montana State.
But the thing is, this is a very interesting game because you look at Northwestern. Was it 2 years ago they were competing for the Big Ten?
Yeah, and then last year they were atrocious.
They went 3-9. You look at Nebraska. They hired Scott Frost,
which I at the time thought was a great hire. And I think there's potential.
He's had great talent. He just hasn't been able to win. They went 3-9 last year.
Yeah,
and this is two teams looking to have a way better, not just a better, but a substantially better year than they did the previous. Because we've seen Northwestern compete before. We haven't seen Nebraska in a long time, but we know they have the talent and the coaching.
Late 90s, Nebraska was. They were a powerhouse. They were a Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State,
and they haven't been.
And they haven't been since then.
But these are two teams that are looking to. I don't think either one of them compete for the Big Ten. You're not going to beat Ohio State or Michigan, or even Michigan State, for that matter.
Penn State, no.
Penn State, no. But these are two teams trying to get to that 6-game mark, and this is a big matchup for that because the loser of this could possibly only win 5 games.
Right. Or 4.
Or 4.
3 again.
3 again. I think both teams have talent. I don't think, like I said, neither one of them are competing, but the game's going to be interesting because they're evenly matched to me because they're both in the similar situation.
I know right now Nebraska is listed as 13-point favorites.
Yeah.
I don't think they cover the spread.
Do you think they win?
But I do have Nebraska winning the game.
Yeah. I don't. At first, I was picking Northwestern, but I don't know because
Casey Thompson, their transfer quarterback at Nebraska, is very good. We've seen him play.
But
I've seen him
Adrian
play in
Martinez
person.
was supposed to be very good too.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Northwestern, just to make it interesting between me and you. Gentleman's bet. Northwestern wins.
Okay. I just think Nebraska's going to be too much.
It's in Ireland. Keep that in mind. That changes things. The air's different. The food's different.
Is the air that much different than
Oh yeah, it's elevated.
being,
I don't know, but I just think Northwestern has a better rounded team than Nebraska. I don't know. That's just me. I like Northwestern.
And I'm not
going
to sit here and say that I've done a lot of research on either of these teams because I haven't.
Because you don't care. I'm just joking. JJ
No,
cares.
it's because the bottom of the Big Ten is
no one cares.
exactly. But I mean, I have looked into it a good bit, but I like not Northwestern. I think Nebraska does win the game. Like I said, they don't cover the spread. They don't win by 13. It's a close game. I've got Nebraska.
So as far as predictions go, what we're going to do for these games, because these first 4 that I have are the interesting ones that could go either way. And then, Florida State and North Carolina, we get to see them play this year. They're going to win those games.
Right.
They're FCS schools. But these 4, I say whoever gets the most correct, I don't know. Other one gets slapped with a tortilla or something. I don't know. Pod something. We're going to do something after week 0. So next week on
Why don't we do a contest for the whole season?
We should do that too, but just for week 0.
All right.
Because the whole season, that's a lot of football games, JJ.
Yeah, it is.
For week,
we'll be like College Game Day. We won't pick every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so next game, we're going to talk about Wyoming and Illinois. I don't think this one's going to be, obviously.
It's going to be an interesting game.
Be very close.
If this is, no, it's not this game. This game, I forgot what the spread was. I was looking at it earlier. I see Wyoming beating Illinois on the road.
No.
Yep. Yep.
Brett Bielema at Illinois.
It's a sucky hire. Sucky hire.
Okay.
He can't recruit. He definitely can't recruit to Illinois if he can't recruit to Arkansas.
No one can recruit to Illinois. When was the last time Illinois was any good?
My point exactly. When's the last time Wyoming was any good?
Illinois is still a Big Ten school, whereas Wyoming plays in the Mountain West. I'm still taking Illinois.
I'm taking Wyoming.
Whatever.
Okay.
Next game.
This one's exciting to me. Vandy, Hawaii.
Yeah.
In Hawaii,
Vandy
by the way.
is an 8-point favorite right now.
I saw
going into the weekend, and
this is the thing is it's such a. I know Hawaii's not a great team. Neither is Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has to go to Hawaii, dude.
Vanderbilt wins that game.
Are we just gonna disagree on everything, dude?
Yeah, because you're not using your brain. I don't think right now.
I am using my brain. Vanderbilt struggles.
You're just going for shock factor.
I'm not just going for shock. Vanderbilt struggles to beat D2 schools, John James. Okay? Struggles to beat D2 schools at home.
That was the first game
at home
with Clarkley at Vanderbilt. Yes, it was a bad showing.
Home.
Don't get me wrong. It was a bad showing. I expect Vandy to be much better this year. And by much better, I mean winning 4 games.
Vandy going to Hawaii, completely different time zone, having to play on the road against a team who, once again, is not good.
Right.
But neither is Vanderbilt. If this was at Vandy, I'm taking Vandy, no doubt. I do have doubt in Vandy now because it's on the road. I'm not saying Hawaii's going to win. I'm saying you seem so sure that they're going to win, and I'm not. Because it's in Hawaii.
So who are you picking to win?
That's the thing. I don't know. Because on one hand, it's in Hawaii. On the other hand, I think Vanderbilt's a better football team, but just slightly better.
On note, on it being in Hawaii, yes, that is a big deal. But defense travels, and Clark Lee is a defensive coach. I think the Vandy defense, especially, will take a big step forward this year. That's why I feel decently. I'm not going to say I feel very confident about Vandy winning this game, but decently confident that Vandy will win this game.
Their offense is not going to score. Their offense is not going to score. It's a weird game. If this was in Vanderbilt, I'm taking Vanderbilt by 10, no question. This is in Hawaii. I'm going to take Vandy just because I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to take Vandy just because, and I see it. Final score 10-3. Yeah, 10-3.
Something like
10-7,
that.
10-3, something like that.
I know Hawaii's been able to put up points in previous years. But, yeah, I don't think...
I did win the national championship one year with them on Dynasty.
I'll get you a gold star tomorrow or something. I don't know what you want me to say to that. But
I took Hawaii to the national championship.
In a video game.
You know what? Just because of that, Hawaii's winning this game. I disagree with you.
Okay, good. I didn't want to have to agree with you either.
Go Warriors.
They're the Rainbow Warriors.
I abbreviated.
Okay. Next game.
Zoom in. Hawaii wins. Zoom out. Okay.
Next game. North Texas, the Mean Green versus University of Texas at El Paso, also known as UTEP.
Now, this game is very interesting because North Texas has a 1 point spread to win this game.
Yeah.
And most people outside of, the Caesar Sportsbook and all that are predicting UTEP to take this game because it's at UTEP. I'm taking North Texas. North Texas is always has a good team, especially for their conference. You put them in the SEC or the Big Ten, they're not going to be great. But same with UTEP. I think North Texas goes on the road, gets a big win to start the year. I like their team.
Yeah.
I think North Texas is a bowl team, and I don't think UTEP is.
I haven't really looked into either of these two teams enough to really form a great opinion. This is the one that I'm really kind of shooting in the dark. But since you went North Texas, I'll go UTEP.
Another shot in the dark. Okay.
Please don't ever sing ever again in your life.
Anyways, so as you can see, me and JJ completely different on this list. I will say, if any of these go the way you predicted, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked if any of them go the way I predicted because all of these are going to be pretty good games, I think. I think the one I'm most confident about is Wyoming beating Illinois between all the ones I picked. You obviously seem to think Illinois and Brett Bielema is a good combo. It's not.
It's about as good of a combo as they were going to get at Illinois.
Okay.
Do you not remember how much success the guy had at Wisconsin?
Everyone remembers. What's your point? Wisconsin's Wisconsin. Illinois is Illinois. Illinois could get Nick Saban, and they probably wouldn't do that great.
Exactly, but when you're comparing them to playing Wyoming,
who has had success recently, they won 7 games. They won 7 games last year.
Right.
I know
in the Mountain West.
Yeah, but you know what their record was in their conference?
What?
2-6.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I know that's terrible. What I'm saying is
that's absolutely garbage.
They do better against non-conference opponents than conference opponents. And Illinois is probably the worst team in the Big Ten.
You got Rutgers in there. You got Maryland in there.
Maryland has been pretty decent. Rutgers has their years. Illinois has not had a year. Ever. Illinois is the worst team.
Illinois is not a bad team, but they are a better team than Wyoming.
Doesn't mean they're going to beat Wyoming.
And at home, I don't see them losing.
I see Wyoming getting a big road win because they're not going to win many games in their conference, and they're going to win 5 games at a conference, and this is one of them. We also get to see Florida State and North Carolina take the field week 0. They're not playing good teams. They're going to win.
I'm not going to judge anything off of that.
These are two programs that I'm excited to see this year because I think North Carolina just lost their longtime quarterback, who they didn't have success with that much last year. And I thought North Carolina was going to – I predicted North Carolina was going to win the ACC last year. I was wrong.
That definitely did not happen.
They didn't. I was wrong. But people thought I was crazy because they were like Clemson. And I was like, and they didn't. I was right. So in your faces, people. But North Carolina also did not
You were
win.
also wrong.
I didn't think Pittsburgh was going to be a top 10 team. I mean, can you blame me? But
I still don't know if they were.
Were they not? I thought they would finish like 8th.
I mean, even if they did, I wouldn't have them.
Regardless, both two ACC schools that with Clemson back on the rise, they need to have good years.
They need to get back on track. Florida State needs to get back on track. Really, they're just not there right now, so they need to get on track. North Carolina has been off track for quite a while. We'll see what Mac Brown can do. Everybody expected more out of them last year, and they were a big disappointment. I want to say they were a preseason top 10 team. I think. I want to say they were around 9, 10, 11, 12.
North Carolina?
Yeah, preseason last year.
Somewhere around there.
And they ended up somewhere way out of the top 25. So, those will be interesting games to watch. I don't think you can judge very much off of what you expect for the rest of the season off of those two games because, I mean, it's going to be tough, to motivate your players as a Florida State coach to go out and play their best against Duquesne.
Yeah.
I think is who they're playing. And then same with North Carolina against the FCS school. And, the level of competition is definitely not there. But, it's still very important for these two teams to come out and play well.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get into the last topic of the day, MLB update. August is coming to an end. We have one more full month of regular season baseball, and things are starting to change again. We'll start with the AL East as always. The Yankees just came off a huge sweep against the Mets. Two very great games. They kept Scherzer in check, which never happens. And they tied his earned runs for the year.
The most he'd had in a game.
So, big weekend, not weekend, big series for the Yankees, trying to get back on track. If we keep going in the AL, do you have something to say about the Yankees? No. Okay. Aaron Judge, 2 home runs, which is big, trying to get to 60. We look at the Rays. Rays have been hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10. That gap between them and the Yankees, even with the Yankees beating the Yankees, is closed. They're only 7.5 games back. The Blue Jays also beat the Yankees this past series. They're also closed the gap. They're 8 games back, so only 1 game behind. The Rays and are 6-4 in their last 10. The Orioles cooled down. They are now 11.5 games back, and no one cares about the Red Sox because they are out of the picture. So looking at the AL East, the Rays and the Blue Jays are right there, both fighting for that wild card spot. The Orioles, I know I predicted they were going to make the playoffs, but I'm really hoping they have a great September because I want to see them there. But being, over 4 games back
at this point is not.
And with how hot the Rays are, it's not looking good for them.
Right.
But do I care? No. The Orioles are making the playoffs.
Once again, your brain sometimes doesn't work.
Maybe my brain is the only one that works. Zoom in. Zoom out. Okay.
I don't even know what to say to that.
On to the AL Central, we have the Cleveland Guardians continue to expand their lead in there. 4 games up. The Twins went 4-6 in their last 10. The only team in the AL Central that has a winning record their past 10 games is the Guardians.
I don't think there's really much to say about the AL Central.
No one in the AL Central that's not winning the division is making the playoffs.
Right.
So, and then if we go to the AL West, once again, the Astros with a big lead. They are 4 games above the Yankees in the AL West. The Mariners are 12.5 games back, sitting at 67 and 57.
What are the Rays?
The Rays are 1 game ahead of them. The Mariners have the same record as the Blue Jays.
Okay.
So, with that being said, the race for the wild card is still very, very, very close. The Twins, too far back to me for them to get in.
Yeah.
The Guardians don't even have as good of a record as those 3 wild card contenders. The Twins don't even have as good of a record as the Orioles, and the Guardians are only 2 games ahead of the Orioles if you're looking at the AL as a whole.
Yeah.
Once again, I think the Mariners have the best overall team out of those wild card teams. The thing is, they also have to play the Astros. I see the Mariners getting one of the 2 wild card spots for sure. And then I see the Orioles getting the other one. So, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it'll be an interesting race to watch, especially looking at that wild card. I think all the divisions are basically set at this point, but
It's my favorite time of the year, JJ.
I
College
know.
football season is right here. It's the race to October. I'm very excited. The wild card races are so fun. Last year I was so stressed because the Yankees were the team on the bubble.
Yeah.
They're not this year, so I can just sit back and relax and enjoy the show, literally. So, yeah. You ready to? You got anything to add to the American League?
Yep.
All right.
Covered it pretty well.
Let's head over to the NL East. The Mets, who once again, like I mentioned, in case I didn't say it, the Yankees swept the Mets.
Hey, why don't you say that a little louder?
The Yankees swept the Mets.
Now could you shut up about it?
Sorry. Anyways,
Right.
the Mets are 4-6 in their last 10, but they are still ahead in the NL, but only by a game and a half. The Braves are catching up. The Braves
have
are
been
8-10 in their 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
Dude, I think
Beat
the
Pirates
Braves
14-2 yesterday.
I think the Braves are gonna win the NL East. You got a whole
I said
month
that
left.
about a month or 2 ago, but
I gotta go find that footage, John James. I believe you. I'm
in
just
the
joking.
first episode I said that.
I'm just joking, but
Although that might have been in the one that got cut out, but
it could have been. The Braves, I think, are going to win the NL East. Obviously, the Mets will take the wild card spot if they don't. Every other team, the Phillies, the Marlins, the Nationals, of course, are all too far back. Look at the NL Central. Not much has changed. You still got the Cardinals and the Brewers fighting for that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals are 5.5 games up. Once again, I wanted to say the Brewers can. I think they have the talent to go on a run, but the Cardinals are hot again. But the thing about the Cardinals, they've been hot and then they've been cold. And if they have a cold September and the Brewers can win some games, I could see the Brewers taking that spot. But
I like where the Cardinals sit there.
they're very similar, though. The winner of the NL Central will be the only NL Central team in the playoffs because if you look at the NL West, obviously the Dodgers, 19.5 games ahead at 86-37. The Padres are at 68-58, which is ahead of the Brewers. It depends on the September, but the Padres are 4-6 in their last 10. But, they got the talent to have a hot September.
Right.
But if you ask me, you're going to have the Braves, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers winning their divisions. And then you'll have the Mets and the Padres in the wild card. And
that would be my best guess at the NL right now.
Yeah.
Just don't see somebody. I don't see the Brewers catching the Cardinals.
I think there's a better possibility that they can catch the Cardinals than, say, the Twins catching the Guardians. Just because the Cardinals have been very hot and then very cold all season.
Yeah.
And they're hot right now, which means they're looking to get cold. As for the Yankees, we all know they had a very bad August. Yeah. September's going to be different. They are going to end August on a hot note. They already did because they swept the Mets. And bring out the broomsticks because
I thought we just went over
they
this.
swept the Mets.
I thought we just went over this.
JJ, the Yankees swept the Mets. So,
hey, the Yankees swept the Mets.
He's on my team.
No. Put your hand down.
But I am so looking forward to September and October. It's going to be a great month thing. Early prediction, JJ. Who you got? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but things can change. It's baseball. Who you got?
The Dodgers.
You still got the Dodgers?
They just look too dominant all year.
I'll be honest. I agree with you. I would love to see the Braves and the Yankees World Series, just because the drama in the apartment would be off the roof. But
And we know who'd win that series.
yeah,
so.
the Yankees. So if the Yankees play anybody besides the Dodgers in the World Series, assuming the Yankees make it to the World Series and not choke, I think if they play the Mariners in the playoffs, the Mariners beat them. Any other team they play, I see the Yankees winning. But let's say the Yankees and the Dodgers play the World Series, Dodgers are winning. Yankees play the Braves or any other team in the NL, I see the Yankees winning the World Series. But we can both agree the Dodgers have the World Series in the bag at this
Dodgers
point.
are my pick.
They're my pick too. But some news on that. I think we talked about this a little bit. After a playoff series has ended, me and JJ will be live streaming talking about it. Going to talk a little bit more about the MLB. All Dog comes out this Saturday.
Victory Lane
Victory
came out
Lane
yesterday.
came out yesterday
At noon. Go
at
watch
noon.
that. So, yeah.
A lot of sports stuff going on. It's an exciting time of the year.
Ramping up the content on the channel.
Heck yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah.
Hopefully, I hadn't checked with Caleb, but hopefully we'll be getting our link to be able to put this podcast on everything.
Gosh, I hope so, man.
Soon.
It's I don't know what the deal is. When me and Evan did our podcast, we got our RSS. It's called an RSS feed. We got it 3 days after we requested it, and it's the same problem with Caleb AM right now. We cannot get the RSS feed for whatever reason. I'm gonna keep trying at it though.
So
figure it out. We'll get it
but
available.
Go listen to it. It is on Spotify in a podcast form.
And of course,
correct?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
And of course, if you'd rather see our beautiful faces,
We'll be right
We'll
here,
be here.
every Tuesday and Friday
absolutely.
at 3 p.m. So,
All right.
yeah.
You
And
gotta-
also, if you want to see more of us, head on over to the TikTok or the Instagram.
TikTok. on the clock.
We're trying to grow both of those as well. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for 50 subscribers. We've been on YouTube for a month, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect us to have 50 at the end of the month.
I will be honest also, though. I don't know what else can be honest about. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
been great.
Thanks for all
we're
the
gonna
support.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't rest
like I
until we
said,
get 1 million.
Victory Lane yesterday. This will be out today. All Dog will be on Spotify.
Until we can get the RSS feed. Maybe for some reason that RSS feed will get here faster.
Be
Who
nice.
knows?
But, yeah, that'll be on Spotify. And, yeah.
JJ, do you have anything left to say before we sign off?
Yeah.
What do you got to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it?
All
right, I got one more thing to say. The Yankees swept the Mets. Yeah, that's all I have left to say.
So, like we said, subscribe, like the video. Our stuff will be in the description, and we'll see y'all Tuesday.